Welcome back, darlings. This week's video is all about this brilliant Mk2 Golf GTI. This, to me, is one of the best looking cars ever made. I've got a huge soft spot for them. I love them. This is an 8 valve, so it's quite rare. 8 valve big bumper. Most of them are 16 valves. The 8 valves are apparently torquier, but there's fewer of them. I guess they were less desirable at the time, but now almost they're more desirable because they're rarer. This one we're getting ready for sale. So it's been sat under a tree for 6 to 9 months. Needed a thorough deep clean and cleanse, a little bit of improvement on the paintwork, but nothing really intensive. It's just helping the next customer see the depth of the project that they would have buying it. So sit back and enjoy. It's a reasonably short video, I think, actually, given the amount of effort that went into it, but it's really enjoyable. I love this car. You can keep your supercars, you can keep your Porsches, keep your Mercs, your Audis, whatever you like, Ferrari, McLaren. This, to me, is one of the best looking cars ever made, and I'm so stoked. Oh, by the way, when I say you can keep those other cars, you can keep them, and you can keep them in pristine condition by employing me to clean them for you. One of the first jobs I've started with the blower rather than finishing, but needs must, and it seemed like a sensible thing to do rather than just going in and blowing it with the pressure washer and potentially spraying it into the rest of the panels. So before I get any foam on it, I'm going around with a bit of Stunner Gloss Forced on all the rubbers and various other areas which were pretty ingrained with grime, including the fuel filler cap. And then I'm going over it with Built Hamber Auto Foam at 4% PIR. It's giving it a really good soak, and it's probably the best combination of products I've got that will give it a really good clean. Going around the door rubbers here with the detailing brush and all around the window trims, around the any glass areas really. Anywhere there's a rubber seal that was ingrained dirt that needs to be cleaned out. And they were coming out black. It's not coming out in the video here, but they were, like jet black, the dirt that was coming off them. Now, there's only ever going to be one shampoo of choice for this job, and that was the Meguiar's Wash Plus. Whilst I think the Garage Therapy Decon Wash does help shift a lot of grime, because this is mildly abrasive, it really gets in there. And in situations like this, I find it shifts a bit more. And I really want the wash process to take off as much as I possibly can. The only downside with using Wash Plus, especially in the summer, is it dries out really quickly, and if you dry it on the panel you have to wash it again, rather than other soaps where it just kind of wash it with a bit of extra water will reactivate it and you better rinse it off. So I have to constantly wash and then rinse and wash and rinse. Now I'm using deionized water so I don't get the watermarks, and that's obviously a benefit, but you have to be careful when you're using Wash Plus in the summer, and you again don't want to let it dry on the plastic trims, and well, this car's got a lot of those, hasn't it? The wheels have been recently refurbed and they weren't that bad at all. So here I'm just using a bit of Ferracla's reactive wheel cleaner that they sent me to try. Full review of that coming up eventually, but I'm just in the process of recording that on as many wheels as I possibly can. Get this as much on modern cars, but there's a lot of nooks and crannies and seams and bits of trim that need to be blown out here to get the water out. The flip side is these have rubber seals up in a lot of places where these days it's just either an air gap between the doors, for example. So yeah, it's an interesting one. And we can see what I've got to play with in terms of the paint condition, and believe me, most of that marring is not introduced by the Wash Plus. So here I'm just doing a quick test to see what we can get with the Built Hammer cleanser polish, and that is on a 6-inch white Lake Country CCS pad. Here's a 50-50. I've blown out the contrast here so you can really see the difference, but the difference was noticeable. The camera just really wasn't picking it up particularly well. But yeah, great results just for the cleanser polish, eh? So, bit of LSP here, and I'm using Turtle Wax Flex Wax because it goes on pretty easily, looks pretty nice, and it lasts pretty well. About 4 months durability out of that, and this car should be sold by then, so that's good. And then I'm going on to the trim dressing. Now the trim, a lot of it on this car. I haven't used Solution Finish on it, partly because it's sort of like wasn't needed. The car's for sale, and it's still going to be a project for the next person to an extent. But also, it goes black. They do a dark grey version. I don't have that. It goes black, and I don't think these bumpers are actually black. I think they are a dark grey, so it wouldn't necessarily been the right look. Now you could argue, of course, you could do ceramic, sure, but then the costs start to go up, and for a car that's for sale, is it really worth it? That's for the next owner to do. So the Nanolex Trim Rejuvenator gives a fantastic finish, and it gives a really nice OEM look. The trims at the back and on the front splitter, so the rear bumper and the front splitter, I think are too far gone to actually be restored at all by any product. Solution Finish is probably the only thing that would actually make it look all right-ish, but they probably need replacing. That rear bumper has had some treatment on it, heat treatment on it as well, but unfortunately the camera died when I was making that. So this is what it looked like when I was finished.